Hey, Posties! Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs. This is Ellie, your host, speaking. And today I just wanted to go ahead and give you a trigger warning. I have noticed a lot of podcasts just start talking about very heavy subjects as if it's just normal. You could just pop that into me, pop that onto my psyche, onto my soul. So I'm not going to do that to you. Today we talk about the effects of art after the loss of somebody taking their life. Tamara and I have very similar experiences in taking something tragic and making it positive. And I just wanted to share this story with you guys, but not without letting you know we talk about a few heavy subjects. I'm going to show you a clip of it in the beginning so that you can still choose whether or not you're going to watch the whole episode. I hope you enjoy. When I first started this podcast, if you listen to my very early episodes, you can hear that I'm nervous about sharing my opinion with everyone. So how did you get comfortable with sharing your artwork with so many eyes? Because for me, I was like, oh, what if they judge me? How do you get over that question in your head, or how do you mute that voice?
Well, there was a big pivotal moment where I took a class at a local art center, and it was kind of dealing with things that you were going through. And I think just sharing, your story with people can sometimes be a real challenge. And I know we had chatted about this too when we talked last week, that my father actually committed suicide. And I did a piece. I also sew, so I sewed a doll, and I took little scraps of paper and I wrote messages to my dad, and I stuck them all over the doll, pinned them to the doll, and then they said, would you like to participate in a show? And I said, yeah, sure, I would love to do that. And then I attended the show with a few friends, and I didn't think wow, people are gonna kind of open those and they're gonna see it. It's so raw, and it was wow, I'm like, wow, I'm really out there now, because that's something that I don't share with everyone, and it's kind of a hard thing to share, but it was I felt like I was cracked open at that moment, and then it's it just felt easier. It was a big moment.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So, all right, guys, that's the clip. So I'm giving you one last chance to bow out of this episode if this subject is too much for you. I appreciate you guys for watching. And let's get to know Tamara. She's an extremely talented artist, guys, and I cannot believe I had the privilege of meeting her. So welcome to Entrepreneurs with your host, Ellie. Hey, so hi everyone. My name is Ellie, and you are watching Entrepreneurs. And I wanted to bring something to everybody's attention. First, it's my new hairstyle. Hope you guys like it. This is by the Lola Effect, and she is sponsoring today's show. So say hi to Lola. And if you guys are looking for bundle installs or to find a new hairstylist, she does natural hair, she does absolutely everything, then definitely check out the description bar below. We're gonna have a link to her services. And if you want to learn how to do a look like this yourself, you can join her academy. It is the TL Academy, and she is teaching how to get a style just like this, start to finish. So definitely check out the links below if you're interested. All right, now that we are done with our commercials, it is time to introduce our special guest. This is Tamara. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi. So it's so weird. I met her at an art show, and I was actually a little late coming to the party, but we got to talking, and I was so thankful that you walked me around to show me all of your beautiful works. And after I saw them and we laughed a few times, I was like, she has to come on the show. So I want you to introduce yourself to everybody so that they can get to know you like I've had the chance to.
Well, it was great to meet you too, Ellie. I'm here today. I'm an artist. I live in Virginia. So I came down to Atlanta to showcase my artwork. And it was so lovely to see Ellie and all the others. And I have to say that everyone in Atlanta is so sweet and so kind. I had such a good reception there, and I was thrilled. And people were very engaged and had lots of nice questions and comments. So I really appreciate your community.
Oh, thank you. You know, I get two things about Atlanta. We're either too fancy, like we charge too much for the regular things, or we're super nice and have Southern hospitality. So I'm glad you got the second one. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, I love the style of the people too.
Oh yeah, we're dressing. I think the first thing I noticed was your purse. It was you made it, correct? Where it was like a grass purse, and I was like, what is this? Who is this person?
I did. I made my purse because the title of the show included nature, and so I wanted to bring a little nature, although it wasn't truly grass.
It was beautiful. One of the first things I noticed, she was like, oh, I made this. And I was like, that's so cool. You paint and you make your own bags. Like, what? So what is your medium as an artist? What would you call it? Or is it everything?
Well, I call myself a multidisciplinary artist because I made this shirt.
She makes everything.
Because I sculpture and I work with clay, and where I went to school, you didn't have to major in a certain area, so you got to explore everything, and so I continue to do that today.
Okay, so how long have you been an artist?
Really my entire life. Even when I was a child, my mother would take me to Saturday morning art classes. I grew up in the West, and there was like a little sort of community college. Indiana, Purdue University had a little extension in a town close to us, and so every Saturday morning I would join my mom, and she'd take me to art classes. So it was nice to have the support of your family to, follow your dreams.
Oh, right. Exactly. I think that is something that I'm actually seeing a little less of on social media. A lot of people are saying that they don't feel the support from their family first. They kind of get it from strangers. Is that something that you said that your family supported you first. So please, I guess, tell me how you got started. Because did it start in that Saturday class, or what is your journey to get to having your own art show in a whole nother city? Like, very curious as to how that happened.
Well, I have two children, so the whole time they were younger, I worked, but I also maintained a studio and painted and did more so commission work than because I could fit it into my schedule and their schedule. And then after they graduated, I had more time to dedicate to painting more full-time. I teach elementary kids, but it's part-time, so I'm able to dedicate most of my time to painting. And the curator that I think you met, Patty,
briefly, not too long.
Yeah. So I met her a year ago, and she held a show here in Charlottesville, and I did this huge sculpture, which was a little much for me. It was definitely going in a new direction, and it was huge, and I'd never built anything that large before, that scale. So the show was a success, but I told Patty, I said, I think my next show, I want to do paintings, because just in that, like, trying to move something so large I didn't think about those things. So learn, as you go, like that was a lot. I enjoyed the process of the sculpture, but moving that big piece there's no way I could have done it to Atlanta. So Patty reached out to me and she said she's opening galleries in different cities, New York and DC and Atlanta. And she said, would you like to show your work down in Atlanta? And I thought, wow, what an opportunity. I'd been to Atlanta a couple times, but experiencing it, showing my artwork and sharing it was it was a dream come true. It was really wonderful. So.
We enjoyed you. I honestly, we've had a few pieces down there, but when I saw yours and I heard the stories, I think one that stuck out to me the most is where you started a project and then you were like, forget that, and you just painted on top of it. And I'm going to definitely snip that into this video as well as your statue, if you don't mind sharing that with us. And of course, my phone's ringing. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. All right. But yeah, can you talk more about that piece, the name of the piece, and what made you kind of switch gears on that one? I feel like a lot of people start something and then are afraid to switch gears. So please let us know how you were able to just say, hey, let's start over.
Well, it's called Nightlife, and originally it was a semi-abstract. I usually paint with a lot of color. Like as a child, I was the child that used every crayon in the box. I didn't limit myself, so this current show is a little different in that it's more abstract and a lot less color. So that was kind of hard for me to contain myself because I love to use so much color, but it seemed appropriate with the style that I was doing. So the painting that you were talking about, it was very colorful. It was one woman looking over another woman's shoulder. And as an artist, you sometimes live with your artwork for quite some time. I was looking at it and I just thought, I just felt like I needed to go in, just like lights, I needed to go in a different direction. I mean, sometimes you're headed down one road and, you choose a different path and sometimes it's successful and sometimes not. And I think as an artist, you need to not treat your artwork like, it's the end all be all. You go a different direction. So it was very colorful and I just took white and dipped my brush in white and I just started scrubbing all over the canvas. Wow. There's small amounts of color that are left, you can see.
It's very beautiful.
But yeah, so I went over it with some lines and some different colors and it just grew into this completely different painting, which then I was like, okay, this is finished. I love the way this looks now. And I'm so thrilled to bring it down and listen to the comments. I know one gentleman asked me if it was a Black Widow.
Oh yeah, because of the colors. It's
there's a little red spot like a Black Widow, and so he saw that. And I love to see my art through other people's eyes as well. So that was really fun.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about art is that it's perception. It's just perception. And I love that you are vulnerable enough to share that art with us. Because I know me, when I first started this podcast, if you listen to my very early episodes, you can hear that I'm like nervous about sharing my opinion with everyone. So how did you get comfortable with sharing your artwork with so many eyes? Because for me, I was like, oh, what if they judge me? How do you get over like that question in your head, or how do you mute that voice?
Well, there was a big pivotal moment where I took a class at a local art center. And it was kind of dealing with things that you were going through. And I think just like sharing, your story with people can sometimes be a real challenge. And I know we had chatted about this too when we talked last week, that my my father actually committed suicide.
Yeah.
And I did a piece. I also sew, so I sewed a doll,
Oh.
and I took little scraps of paper and I wrote messages to my dad, and I stuck them all over the doll, pinned them to the doll. And then they said, would you like to participate in a show? And I said, yeah, sure, I would love to do that. And then I attended the show with a few friends, and I didn't think like, wow, people are gonna like kind of open those and they're gonna see it.
Yeah.
It's so raw, and it was like, wow, I'm like, wow, I'm really out there now, because that's something that I don't share with everyone, and it's kind of a hard thing to share, but it was like, I felt like I was cracked open at that moment, and then it's like, it just felt easier. It was a big moment.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So were the reactions positive from the people who read it, or did you feel like I'm always afraid that I'll be misunderstood. So I want to know if that's a fear of yours as well.
Not misunderstood, but the messages, were very personal, and so I think that was
the hardest part.
Somebody reading your personal writings is, and I know you're not a writer, so
yes,
you're a different way. So that I think that was more intimidating than the art itself.
Okay, well, I thank you for pointing that out, because what I've noticed is like me just doing this every day has made me more comfortable. Right. So I'm guessing it's the same way with you, where you're like, hey, I did it once, let's do it again, and I could do it one more time, and I'll do it one more time after that. That's kind of,
it's easier.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you get to be featured in an art show? Like, I know you said that you found the curator at another art show. How do you end up getting a stage like that, a platform like that?
Sometimes I pursue, or people pursue, it's back and forth. I've arranged shows. Right now I'm at a small coffee shop in our town, and it's a lot of personal connections,
Okay.
I know the owner of the shop, and so she reached out to me, and you find out areas where also other artists like clue you into places display. People are really nice in sharing that where there are opportunities.
Okay, so it's a network thing.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay, that's perfect. I've noticed that's a lot of the ways that I've gotten my opportunities is by networking. So that just confirms it that you got to network, even if you don't want to necessarily. You can find a way to do it comfortably.
Right, it's very important.
Oh, so important. I just, I don't know if you're like me, but I'm an introvert by nature. So I love staying at home and creating my own little world. So I know sometimes it's hard for me to pull myself away from that to go network. So do you have the same?
I agree with that. I mean, because writing and being an artist, it's internal, and you're quiet and you're working alone and you concentrate. But then you also have to nurture that other side where you have to be out in public. So
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. My friends will say like they can tell when I'm in a creative sprint because I'll just be gone for like a week. They'll be like, we'll text you and you'll text back sometimes. But they're like, we know you're writing or creating something and we'll just see you when you're done. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, like being at the gallery opening is completely, that's like another side of being an artist where you're out there in the public. And so I called a friend actually right before I drove into the city, and oh gosh, I'm like nervous about this. And he told me a funny story where he was supposed to speak at an art opening and he flat out just said no. No. People are shy, they're not comfortable.
Yeah, but I love people who stand in their word, regardless of what it is. So if
Right.
they said no and they stand in that, that's kind of awesome. Like that's a superpower in its own, where you were like, I know I'm not going to do that. And then also, if you push yourself to do something that you're not normally comfortable with, I think that's awesome as well, because it's just like, you know, I feel like there's a win in every situation.
Right, because I mean, you push yourself and you grow, and that's what it's all about, is growing and changing.
Yeah, so speaking of growth, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment so far? Like, what's your big, tall moment when you're like, I've made it?
So we had like a little Q&A at the opening last Friday. I said, mine really is when I make my kids proud, because they're proud of me, that just, you know, it just puts me on cloud nine. It makes me, because they were really excited for me.
Yeah, mom's traveling with her art. That's so cool.
Yeah, so that definitely is like, you know, it's kind of a mom moment, but yeah.
No, I love it. I love that your win was internal. I think a lot of times we place it in like an award or an amount of money or something like that, but I love that yours is literally in the joy that you can bring to your kids. I think that's amazing. I think that's wonderful.
Come on. That means a lot.
I think, so I guess the message to our listeners on that would be to just ground yourself in yourself. That way, no matter what, you can keep moving. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good way to put it.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I'm paraphrasing you correctly.
For sure.
Okay, good. Okay, so like you said before with your statue, that was a lesson. What's another lesson that you've learned? So after you've had accomplishments, I'm sure you've had downfalls like we've all had. So.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, always like pick yourself up, and tomorrow's a new day, and you know, you can start over. You know, I've had things that were successful and then things that are not, and I think don't be afraid to pivot and go in a different direction. I feel like I've done so many different things as an artist. You know, I've taught children. I've taught at like seniors, which are a lot alike.
Oh, really?
I taught somebody who was 101 years old how to paint. So
it's never too late.
Definitely, that's another lesson. It's never too late. Yeah, so there were people that asked questions at the show about starting. Don't be afraid. I mean, a lot of people say they're not an artist, but we all started as artists. I mean, every kid just draws, and they're happy with what, you know, they're thrilled with what they do. So if you can touch that again and, you know, be childlike and be proud of your artwork, I think anybody, you know, has that in them, and that they can, if they can get to that place, and you can also be an artist. You can start, you know, from wherever you are. Start from where you are. Okay. Take one baby step and take a class, or, you know, I would suggest that. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister is the artist in the family. She's got her own. Yeah, so I did not find, I have her website though. I have her website, so I'm going to send that to you so you can see her artistry. But she's like a cartoonist. She's a graphic designer artist. And it's so funny because she's like, you want to be an artist so bad, you just don't really know what to do with your hands.
Good, Allie.
Yeah, I was like, one day I might do abstract art. I think that's what I could do. I couldn't get you to see the picture that was in my head, so we'll do a shadow version of it.
You can do it.
Thank you. I'm gonna try it, and we're going to let you see it first. If I ever do it, I'm gonna be like, look, you said I could try.
I expect to see it. I expect to see it.
Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm gonna put that on my vision board. How about that? It's still January.
That's great.
So what do you do to kind of keep yourself regulated? And I mean like centered in this, because I don't know, creativity for me is sometimes draining once I'm done. So what do you do to keep yourself balanced after all of that?
Well, so we're really lucky. We live kind of near the Blue Ridge Mountains. So I get outside every single day. I take walks, and connect with nature. I think nature is super calming, and it's a great way to just definitely center yourself, and exercise, and all the things they tell you that you struggle and try to right and all that. But definitely just get outside and have some peace, because then you can like refocus if something's pulling you in one way or another. Just a hike in the woods, or if I lived, I am a city girl. I love cities, although I don't live in one. But I think just walking around the city and being inspired too. And you guys have a gorgeous view where you are, so.
Yeah.
Talked about the sky and how gorgeous it is. Sometimes that's all it takes is looking out your window.
I love that. What's weird is I take skyline videos and pictures of the sunrises and sunsets. I think you saw one of mine. And it brings me so much joy, but sometimes I don't know who to send it to, because some people feel like, yeah, that's just the sky. But it's certain people that, like some people don't see art everywhere and some people do. Right. So that's who I save my beautiful pictures for the people who can understand the beauty of it.
Well, that's funny. Even if I'm looking at a piece of marble on the floor, I know this is strange, but I see I'll see a face, or it's like you, as an artist, you can't turn it off.
Nope.
And you're probably the same thing with words.
I can make a story out of anything. I really can. Leave a plate out and I'll come up with a reason why that plate's still there, or something like that.
I love that.
It's so weird. I've been doing that since I was a kid, but I decided to start embracing it and start actually writing and publishing stories. So thanks for the shameless plug. That's coming soon. That's coming this year. So any goals for you? That's my goal for this year. What's your goal for the rest of this year?
Well, I was thinking maybe I should try to access other cities, spread out to move in a new area, a new direction, because meeting people down there was so lovely. Maybe there's another opportunity in another city or it doesn't have to be a city, but just go in a new place that I've not been.
Yeah, why not? I think it's amazing. I think kind of like you said about your purse, I think you were mentioning that when we met, was that no one really understood it where you were, but then you came down here and people were like, I love your style. Or when you went to New York, you said the lady bought the coat, right, that you had made right off of your shoulders. I thought that was cool. So sometimes you need to find your audience. Maybe it's not always in your city.
I know, that's true. I definitely feel like I need to find my audience.
Yeah.
And I'm working.
I love it. The thing that I love now is that we're so connected that you can find them sitting at home. You can find them how you ended up in Atlanta. You didn't have to be here to get that opportunity. So I really want to wish you luck in all of your endeavors, and please let me know if you have any more shows in Atlanta. I'd definitely love to come.
Okay, well, it was so great to meet you, and it's going to be fun because I'll always see you on social media, and I'll know that I, had that lovely conversation with you, and I'll always remember that, Ellie. So
thank you. And before we go, we would like any final words of advice for any aspiring artist out there.
Just keep plugging away. Make time for art every single day. Even if it's you're sitting, well, I shouldn't say sitting at a stoplight, but it could be anywhere, waiting on someone. And when I travel, I carry a tiny little sketchbook, and
really,
in airports, I love to sketch people. Although you think I do figure drawing, where a figure is, in our room and they stand still. And people move. You think they're gonna just stay still when you're drawing them, and they're moving all around. But I take an opportunity, or on the airplane, I'll sketch people.
That's
watching people. So it's kind of fun to see human interaction and what spaces they take up and
That's true. That's true. I love to people watch. I do the same thing when I make a story. I'll be like, okay, so this guy is on a business trip going to because he just left, and then I'll fill in the blanks.
And I have like great imaginations.
I love it. I think that's like that's the thing that we should hold on to in adulthood is our imaginations.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay, what are your social media handles so everybody can follow you and get to know you a little more?
Mostly I post on Instagram, which is Tamara, Tamara .makes, MAKES. And I'm on Facebook too, but not as much. Most things land on Instagram.
Okay.
And I know you told me to do TikTok.
Yes, you do. Everybody has to do TikTok. It's the new thing. We all got to get on it.
Okay. I'm looking into that out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Tamara. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, so nice to see you again, and good luck with all your endeavors.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. This has been another episode of Entrepreneurs, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
If you like this episode of Entrepreneurs, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.